Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Coming up this week, we're going to talk about our favorite DVC resorts for the holidays on this week's episode of the DVC Show. Hello, folks. Coming to you from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friends, Mr. Paul Krieger.
Hey, everybody.
Mr. Derek DeBoer.
Hey, now.
Ms. Sue Saunders.
Hi there.
And Fiasco.
Welcome home.
And just a reminder, this show is along with all of our DVC content, is brought to you by the World of DVC, which includes DVCResaleMarket.com, where you can buy or sell your Disney Vacation Club contract, which I'm doing right now. Mr. Derek is selling some of my contracts for me. Painless process. DVCRentalStore.com, where you can rent out your points. Or if you want to try before you buy, you can rent out some points and pay a lot less than you will pay Disney if you go through them directly to stay in one of the great DVC resorts. And, of course, the crack dealers of the DVC world, MoneraFinancial.com, that makes it very, very easy for you to finance your next DVC resale contract. Links to all that down below in the show notes. What?
Every time you say that, I think of my wife as a crack dealer now, and it makes me chuckle a little bit.
That's right. Paul's wife is one of the crack dealers over at Monera. I actually asked Nick the other day. I said, "Listen, are they okay with me?" He's like, "You can get away with saying it. We can't." And I mean, when I say crack dealer, I mean that in the most loving way possible.
Not the bad crack.
Not the bad crack. The good crack. It's the good crack. That's DVC's tagline.
I'm right.
Disney Vacation Club. We're the good crack.
Great show, everybody. Thanks.
Yeah, really. I think I'll quit while I'm ahead. All right. So we wanted to talk about our favorite resorts. Since we are coming into the holiday season, yes. Our favorite DVC resorts for the holiday. And I figure ladies first, so Paul, I'm kidding. So we're going to start with you. What's your favorite DVC resort for the holidays?
Oh, I love going over to Copper Creek and Boulder Ridge because of when you walk right into Wilderness Lodge and you see that huge tree and with having the log cabin feel to it and the big fireplace, it brings me back to being from New England. It brings me back up to New England, and it really, really feels like Christmas.
And oddly enough, Wilderness Lodge, top of my list.
Yep.
Top of my list for the holidays. I
can't beat it.
You can't beat it. You really can't.
No.
And I feel bad for other resorts. I really do. It's like...
It's probably the number one reason that when folks come to us to look to buy or look to add-on points, it's to get into Boulder Ridge or Copper Creek during the holiday season.
Yep. Yeah.
Because maybe they went to dinner there and they saw it and they walked in and their jaw dropped. And so they go, I'm going to use my points to be able to stay here during the holiday season. And it ain't getting easy at 7 months out, right? So that's why they add on points or buy there.
Definitely has that wow factor when you walk in, especially at the holidays with that, 18,000-foot tree that could be seen from space.
Yep.
When you walk in.
Yeah.
And you're right, with the log cabin feel and all. Yeah. And then as you walk around the grounds, especially over at Copper Creek, you're walking back by the cabins and think, come on. It's just, it's got Christmas
gorgeous.
written all over it. Derek, what about you?
Mine's probably going to be maybe a bit of a surprise, but for those folks that know me, know that I'm probably the number one Vero Beach fan on the planet. So for those folks, and I know there's two of them sitting right here that haven't been to Vero Beach, I love Vero Beach during the holidays. Mm-hmm. And I say this, I have great memories. We go there every single holiday season. The points are really low, which makes it great. So as long as you get out before, say, Christmas Eve, you can get a in-room in the right there, like a studio for like 10 points a night, I think, like during the week. But when you walk into that lobby, and for those folks that have been to Vero Beach, you walk into that Vero Beach lobby, the first thing that hits you is that smell of Vero Beach. It is famous, the best smelling lobby in all of Walt Disney World DVC resorts. And then they have a huge tree. So just like Boulder Ridge and Copper Creek. They've got an enormous Christmas tree. On the Christmas tree, in addition to the usual decorations, they actually have giant turtle decorations that are like this big, that are spread out throughout the whole entire thing. There's like, I think 4 floors in the lobby, so it almost feels like you're just in this little intimate little lobby area with this big giant tree. You have the little yin and the yang of seeing the holidays, but then you walk out the back door and you see the beautiful Atlantic Ocean. For me, it's just a mix of memories, and it's a mix of absolutely a beautiful resort, great point usage. So my vote is for Vero Beach.
And that smell that you smell, that's actually the sugar cookies that they put out every afternoon.
Is it? Oh,
Yep.
Look at that. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sue learning Mr. Vero.
Free sugar cookies?
Free sugar cookies.
Cookies?
Derek is leaving here and going there right now.
We all know Derek likes free things, right?
Well, lamps.
There we go.
The lamps he likes to steal.
Those aren't supposed to be
He
free,
has a
Derek.
lovely collection of lamps from Vero Beach, from what I understand. All right, Paul, what about you?
So Christmas time, it's thinking about something that sort of hits all of the senses, and nothing does that for me like Grand Floridian. You walk in the front door, and you are hit by that giant Christmas tree, similar to what we were talking about with Copper Creek at Wilderness Lodge. Beautiful tree. Next up, 9 times out of 10, you've got someone playing piano, and they're playing little Christmas carols and stuff like that. So you're hearing sort of the holiday music as you're there as well. And then I'm so happy to hear that they're bringing back the gingerbread house this year. Going, waiting in line, getting some of the gingerbread cookies that they have there is just,
And the gingerbread houses they
Yes.
sell
They're beautiful.
are absolutely gorgeous.
You got to pay for those. Not like our Vero Beach free cookies that we get.
But that's sort of the trifecta for me, and I think they do it right at that resort. So Grand Floridian is definitely one of my favorite spots over the holidays that I've been to.
See, and I that's also on my list. I put 3 on my list: Wilderness Lodge, Grand Floridian. But I'm going to give the nod to Grand Californian.
I forgot about that.
Because it kind of brings together the best elements of Grand Floridian and the best elements of Wilderness Lodge. Plus, they usually have, they don't have the gingerbread house, but they have an area where they're doing this like special hot cocoa and cider and selling all of these different like gingerbread cookies and baked goods. And the one year I was out there for Christmas, for the holidays, and got a chance to experience that, I'm like, okay, we always talk about, oh, we like this resort or that resort. Yeah, they win. They win. They got that same big tree like they have in Wilderness Lodge. They have the elegance of the Grand Floridian without the pretense, without the stuffiness that goes along with the Grand Floridian. And so if I'm going to choose any of them, I've got to give the nod to Grand Californian, followed by Wilderness Lodge, followed by
We were
Grand
there,
Floridian.
I think it was about 2 years ago. We were there in December. We had reservations that night, I believe, to do like the dinner show of Fantasmic. It was so cold that we ended up just skipping that. We canceled last minute, so we ate the $10 fee or whatever it is to cancel like a reservation last minute. And we went and we sat in Grand Californian on rocking chairs next to the fireplace. And it's the same sort of thing that I said about Grand Floridian. It touches all of your senses. Yeah. I think at that time they also had like some carolers that sort of like rotated like every couple hours or so that came in and sang for you. And then they had a piano player as well. But like I have vivid memories of just sitting by that fireplace and just rocking in a rocker and just like, this is Christmas.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible. Fiasco.
So,
What about you?
My list is going to align with a lot of you guys's. Wilderness Lodge is right up there for me, but especially this year, Grand Floridian has to take the cake. Not only
Did you say gland?
I could have said the wrong word.
My word problem is contagious. I'm sorry.
I do that often
Coming
as
to
well. But for all the reasons Paul mentioned, in addition, with the walking path
after all the
now,
surgeries he's had, I don't blame him for.
Yeah, sure. Why not? We can just make that the excuse. But even though before the surgery, I was saying the wrong thing all the time too, but it's okay. But with the walking path, now you can go to Magic Kingdom. So just speaking in Florida, we're talking December time frame. Mm-hmm. December is one of the best months in Florida. It's the weather is
really
so good. So walking is no big deal like it is in the summer. You have the walking path to Magic Kingdom from Grand Floridian. Not only that, you have what the Polynesian has to offer. You can walk to the Polynesian. You have all these things you can walk to and do. So while I would pick to spend Christmas at the Grand Floridian, I would still get what the Magic Kingdom had to offer a walking distance away, what the Polynesian had to offer as well. And I mean, I guess we'll go as far as to say contemporary too, because I can also walk there. That's just that whole loop, all walkable.
And this is like in this round of shows that we're recording, it's the second time you've mentioned that walking path from the Grand Floridian.
Yes.
So would you buy at the Grand Floridian?
I personally would not buy at the Grand Floridian. My reasoning is as a local, I am not planning any Walt Disney World stays within that 11-month window. Mm-hmm. So any points, the staycations I plan are like at best 2 months ahead of time. You know, so my points at Copper Creek, which is what I have, or if I was to buy Saratoga Springs, those are going to be just as good with the way that I plan my staycations. The contract that I would want to buy, the only contract that I really want to buy, is over in Disneyland to go use that 11-month window, because I would use the 11-month window at the Disneyland Hotel, or in an extreme case, Grand California, which I don't think I'm going to get, but I do want to get Disneyland Hotel for that reason.
Actually, remind me after the show. I got to tell you something.
Okay.
I was going to tell you now, and oh, wait a second. We're recording a show. It's really sad.
That's all right.
We are?
It's sad, and what's even more sad for me is that I have a video log of my decline into dementia that I can watch over several years. These slow, progressive.
We'll be here. Just let us know when you're done.
Someone's gonna edit it together at some point and put like Sarah McLachlan behind it.
Yeah, really.
I think I just made Derek snort coffee out his nose.
Now that
Job
song is stuck
accomplished
in my
today.
head the rest of the day.
No, I did want to say though that something that comes to me that we've all sort of hinted on here is that every one of our choices comes back to, which I've not been to Vero, so correct me if I'm wrong, but every one of our choices sort of goes back to the grand lobby concept.
Yes.
And that's something that it's sad to see Disney Vacation Club get away from. Like that's one of like if I think about reasons I don't like Riviera, like I miss that big grand lobby concept. I feel
True.
like
See,
100%.
I gotta disagree. I mean, like, not that I don't like the big grand lobby, but I'm sorry. Riviera's lobby is probably the most elegant of any of the DVC resorts. And you go to Europe, you're not going to see these big cavernous lobbies. You're going to find them more intimate. So I thought, I really think Riviera, from the theming perspective, did that right. So you're wrong. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm used to it. I'll accept it.
And I actually want to give a shout out, an honorable mention to Boardwalk.
Yes,
Yeah, big
definitely.
I think the Boardwalk, without the big grand lobby that apparently Paul requires,
Go big or go home.
well, and I think they've done some really, really innovative displays when they do their their gingerbread displays and the chocolate displays and things like that.
And that tree on that great lawn is just the best. Like that great lawn to me is one of the most like underrated, just one of the coolest things, because it's just a big grassy area. Yeah. But for me, it's like to see kids just running around, playing on the grass, and during the holiday season, they have that big tree up there, and it's fantastic.
See, but one of my, I think one of the reasons for me the Boardwalk, especially at Christmas, kind of resonates, is I was raised on the Jersey Shore, and that resort harkens back to Atlantic City, of the turn of the century Atlantic City, that kind of Victorian feel, which the town I grew up in, small town on the Jersey Shore called Ocean Grove, very Victorian in its architecture, very Victorian in its style, very Victorian in its history. So I think it kind of, even though Atlantic City is not where I'm from, that seaside Victorian thing definitely strikes those chords for me of growing up in an environment like that.
Well, I think that's probably the main kind of thing that we all have in common when we're trying to pick our favorite resort. Yes, they're all pretty, but I think we all have amazing memories at those resorts, right? So whether it brings it back to where you grew up or whether it was a great memory sitting with your wife or when I go to Vero or Sue as well. So it all goes back to memories. I mean, no one's picking a resort that may have a fantastic big lobby, but they had a horrible time staying there, right? It all goes back to, did you have a great trip and why? And this was just an added thing to it to have that magical Disney holiday flair.
And I think the Boardwalk, that was my second one. And the reason for the Boardwalk is the swags. When you look at all those Mercury type of ornaments, there's hundreds on them on every single swag. And that reminds me of the trees that we had growing up. And having those Mercury ornaments up there, it's just beautiful.
Yeah. No, it absolutely hits all those points.
I truthfully, I would throw out all the resorts, and I would say that if you have a rest day on your upcoming trip and you're here for the holidays, Amy and I have done this the past 2 years, and we've put a little photo blog up on dvcfan.com, but take that rest day and just go around to all of the different DVC resorts and see what they're all doing for the holiday. There is nothing that puts me in the holiday spirit quite like exploring each of those resorts and seeing the unique, like you were saying, the unique ornaments and all of the unique touches that each one does that's a little bit different.
And then after you're done with the DVC resorts, see the other Disney resorts. Because when you go over to like All Stars and All Star Sports and their Christmas tree has footballs on it and soccer balls on it, it's fun. And you go over to Coronado Springs and you see these beautiful white poinsettias that are on their swags. And
a big grand lobby.
It is really nice. I mean, so
what are you compensating for, Paul?
But each resort has a uniqueness to it where you can see their personality in the decorations.
You can. And, it was easier in days gone by to do that resort hopping than it is now.
Yep.
I just like that only Disney fans can call it a rest day by going to visit 37 resort hotels.
Yeah, really. It's what we do.
Only us Disney
It's
people.
our way. It's a little more challenging right now.
Yeah.
Getting into the resorts if you're not staying there. Some resorts don't care. Other resorts, a little more particular, especially if they're near a theme park. Try parking at the Contemporary if you don't have a dining reservation or a hotel room there.
Yeah.
I found that the Contemporary is really hard. The moderates, they don't want you in. I don't know why. Because when they first introduced the mobile order thing, I was like, I'm going to pick up food from Art of Animation. I'm going to try to pick up food from Pop Century. And they don't want you to do that. And they'll straight tell you, oh, you ordered food and you can show that you paid for it. No, turn around, you get a refund. That's been my experience at the moderates.
Wow.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
See, that's though. I think what you
Are
should
you
have.
Corey from the DVC show? Turn around. Go home.
I think what you should have done is done a full-on Karen and said, I want to speak to your supervisor. And then as the cars pile up behind you, he's eventually going to say, all right, go ahead. Because that was ridiculous.
No, yeah. And
you placed a mobile order.
Right.
You were buying something. You were going to pick it up. And what the hell else are you doing at Pop Century? Okay?
Right. Yeah.
It's not like, you're going to climb the Skyliner and rappel across to Epcot.
It is so hit or miss though too, because we pulled into I think it was Beach Club to pick up a friend on one trip, and it was literally like, oh hey, how you doing? See you later.
Yeah, that's how
Waves
it
are right
depends
in.
on-
It really depends.
It depends. None of those people work at the Contemporary.
That's very true.
None of them. And I get it because everybody's like, oh, I'll save the parking fee.
Right.
And I'll park at the Contemporary and I'll walk right over.
I remember that years ago thinking, I just discovered the best life hack of all time. I'm just going to go park at the Polynesian. It was like 20 some years ago.
Yeah, really.
I think I ruined it for everybody.
They've got your picture in the guard booth.
Yeah, really. So there you have it, folks. That's our those are our picks for the best DVC resorts for the holidays. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again next week with another episode of the DVC Show. Have a great week.